The podcast deal that never was. The latest from podnews.net with Magellan AI, helping you build your podcast ad plan. Amazon Music asked to reduce a potential $10 million deal with Pushkin Industries after the audio division was told to make savings, according to Bloomberg. Their article highlights recent employment freezes and layoffs in the industry and a slowdown of acquisitions, though Magellan AI says in the article that ad sales have increased. Podcast movement Evolutions has announced the second set of speakers for Las Vegas in March. CES has kicked off in the city. The New Yorker publishes an article on influencers, quote, earning tens of thousands on Instagram. And the BBC says that the most listened to podcast on BBC Sounds over the festive period was Newscast, and that the service saw 9% more listens over the holidays this year. And thank you to George Fenton, who's just become a new personal supporter of Pod News. You can be like George and do that at podnews.net/Patreon. And the Pod News Daily Podcast is available ad-free in Apple Podcasts. You'll find that at apple.co/podnews. And in podcast news, Operation Trade Bomb is a new show from Apple TV Plus on the 1993 World Trade Center bombing. Narrated by Mark Smerling, it's produced by Truth Media in partnership with Brillstein Entertainment Partners and is hosted on Amazon's Art19. The future of XYZ has a new home, Rhode Island PBS. The station will release a new episode of Future of XYZ every other Thursday, beginning January 19. Pushkin's Not Lost returns today with a second season. Brendan Francis Newnham sits down with travellers, frequent flyers and regular old misfits about their various journeys around the world. For the first show, he goes to Hollywood, and we study billionaires from the Investors Podcast Network has hit 100 million downloads. The show has been a staple finance and investing focused podcast since 2014, and the podcast network comprises 30 full-time employees and is anticipating at least 7 figures in profit for 2023. This podcast is sponsored by Magellan AI. Every month, Magellan AI works out the top spenders in podcasting, as well as those making big moves in their podcast ad budgets. Who'll be December's top advertisers? Be the first to find out in their free webinar. You can register now at magellan.ai. And that's the latest from our newsletter. To read all the stories and subscribe, we're at podnews.net.